Hey everybody, so warning, this video will discuss the R word. I'm not going to say the actual word due to YouTube restrictions, but I just want to put out an alert to everyone in the disclaimer that this video will proceed to discuss the R word. So if you are someone who may possibly become triggered by this type of discussion, I highly suggest you stop the video and just avoid watching this video altogether. With that being said, let's get into the discussion. So recently, General Hospital, the ABC soap that has been on for decades at this point, has killed off one of its very popular main characters, and that character goes by the name of Luke Spencer. We were introduced to Luke Spencer, or for those of us who were alive around this time, was introduced to the character Luke Spencer in 1978. According to Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is a reliable source, according to Wikipedia, the character Luke Spencer was only meant to be a part of General Hospital for some weeks. However, I guess perhaps because of the popularity of the character and, of course, the actor Anthony Geary's strong acting skills, the character soon became permanent and a part of the cast for General Hospital during that time. Now, the character Luke Spencer was a very troubled individual, and a lot of that had to do with his past. Apparently his father was an alcoholic and very abusive to him and his siblings. One of his siblings we saw a lot throughout the decades of General Hospital's existence, and that is the character by the name of Barbara Jean, and is also known by many General Hospital viewers as the character Bobby. In 2005, Luke Spencer went on to marry the daughter of Edward Quartermain and Lila Morgan Quartermain by the name of Tracy Quartermain. Eventually, the two would divorce, and the actor Anthony Geary would leave the show General Hospital in 2015. And for his exit, it was known that he left alone. However, in 2017, the actress that played Tracy Quartermain left General Hospital, and we see once her character makes her exit, she ends up in Amsterdam, where she once again reunites with Luke Spencer. This particular scene leaves the audience in an illusion, believing that the characters Tracy Quartermain and Luke Spencer would go on to live happily ever after together in Amsterdam. Unfortunately, Tracy Quartermain returned to Port Charles last week to inform everyone that Luke Spencer had perished in a cable car collision in Austria. And some of the individuals that she told was Laura, who we all know used to be Luke's wife, as well as the mother of Luke's children. And then we also have Tracy Quartermain telling the Quartermain family as well. And of course, Tracy Quartermain is devastated because she was with Luke Spencer and she feels like she's responsible for his death for reasons you would have to go check out that previous episode to learn more about. So I'm just making this video to find out, for those who are fans of GH, do we really care that Luke Spencer has been officially killed off of the show? Or do we feel like, or for some of us, do we feel like this should have happened decades ago? So let me explain. I think some of us forget, or maybe some of us wasn't watching at the time, but maybe we just don't realize how Luke and Laura truly came to be. So I'm just gonna dig just a little bit back in history of General Hospital and the story that began Luke and Laura. Anthony Geary, the actor that plays Luke Spencer, came to General Hospital in 1978. His character was only supposed to be temporary, but I guess because of the popularity of his character, they kept him around much, much longer, obviously, right? So the character was very troubled, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, had a father that was an alcoholic and very abusive. And the character Luke Spencer was always looking to make money, always looking to scheme, plot, gamble, whatever it took to make money. He was out there doing it, and he was working around some really negative people. Luke Spencer was working for a man by the name of Frank Smith, and Frank Smith was attempting to have Luke Spencer assassinate someone for him. So Luke Spencer pretty much
figured his life was over. But he still had this thing for Laura, who at the time was married to Scotty, or who we may know as Scott Baldwin, on General Hospital. And this was a very young Laura, mind you. So Laura was working at this place called Campus Disco, where Luke was at as well. If I'm not mistaken, it was Luke's spot. And unfortunately, she found herself being cornered by Luke, who was confessing his feelings for her. But to rebuttal his feelings, Laura told him, like, "Hey, I'm with Scott. I love Scott." And Luke did not like this, and that scene led to the R word of Laura by the hands of Luke. Now, the individuals who wrote this tried to make it seem like a while later it was a seduction rather than the R word. But if you've seen this controversial episode, you can clearly tell that it was not a seduction, it was definitely an R word. Ridiculous move on behalf of the writers to make it seem like it was considered a seduction actually drove away individuals who were viewing General Hospital. It drove away some of the viewers because many of the viewers disagreed with the handling of the episode, the fact that it was even incorporated into General Hospital, but then that the fact that later on the writers would go on to make Luke and Laura have a relationship with one another and eventually marry one another and eventually procreate with one another. So I know it sounds crazy, but this isn't really far-fetched in the world of soap operas.
There was another ABC network soap by the name of One Life to Live, and on this particular soap opera, there was a character by the name of Todd Manny. Now, Todd Manny was on the show initially as a fraternity brother who participated in the gang R word of a character by the name of Marty Saybrook. Unfortunately, the character would go on to attempt to R word this same individual again, but that attempt was stopped by the best friend of that individual, Marty. So, with that being said, the writers later on revealed that the character Todd Manning had experienced, like the character Luke Spencer, some sort of abuse when he was growing up, when he was little. Apparently, the R word was also done to Todd Manning. So I think what the writers were attempting to do on One Life to Live was to humanize the character Todd Manning through all his atrocities by letting the audience know that here is a character who experienced all of this trauma when he was younger. So this is the reason why this character is doing these things as an adult at the very time. And the character went on to be abusive in relationships and do other atrocities, but then they managed to make the character a hero, and then they managed to build a love story for the character as well. And I feel like the same thing happened with Luke. There were times and scenarios where Luke became more of the hero. He became more of the face rather than the heel, the superhero rather than the villain. And then, of course, General Hospital created the love story between Luke and Laura. How they did that, I will never know, but they managed to flip the entire thing into a love story. And this brought about controversy for those who really had their thinking caps on and was looking at it like, how in the heck can you make a woman fall in love with a person that R-word her? And this drove individuals away from General Hospital. So I just wanted to draw the connection there and say that General Hospital is not the only soap to do this. However, I'm just wondering at this very point in time, with the General Hospital killing Luke Spencer off, and I'm not certain how many individuals remember this storyline. How many of us really do care that General Hospital has killed off the character Luke Spencer? After all, the actor Anthony Geary retired from being Luke Spencer in 2015. He did make a short appearance in 2017 for the character Tracy Quartermain's exit. However, he been left the show, so I'm not certain what General Hospital is looking to do by killing off his character, but I just wanted to remind us all of the fact that this was a character who R-word the woman that would go on to be his wife as well as the mother of his children, and perhaps he should have been killed off prior to all of that even occurring. And I also want to make sure I draw the connection to how crazy it is that we can see things like this transpire on the big screen, and how we can also be, some of us, can be manipulated by wonderful writing to see someone that is capable of the R word as eventually a hero and a person that we're swooning over because of these love stories is very interesting. I remember my mother just being absolutely in love with both the character Luke, but especially the character Todd, seeing as he looks like someone that stepped out of a darn fantasy novel off the cover of a fantasy novel. But anyway, you all let me know what you think in the comment section about this storyline. Let me know if you remember the history of Luke and Laura, and let me know what do you anticipate General Hospital is attempting to do by killing off Luke Spencer's character. So that is it. I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.